Hello, dear students. I hope you are all keeping safe at home as well as studying at the same time. As you can see on the screen, today we are going to discuss about the civil disobedience movement. In the last video, we discussed about the non-cooperation movement, how it unfolded, and how different people participated in the non-cooperation movement. Okay, we also saw the expectations of different people from the non-cooperation movement, how it was different, okay, and how the movement came to an end with the Chowri Chowra incident at Gorakhpur. Okay, now today we will be discussing about civil disobedience movement. Towards civil disobedience, that is the first topic. Here we will be discussing about the formation of Swaraj party, the coming of Simon Commission in India, and also the Salt March. Now, in February 1922, we all know that Mahatma Gandhi called off the non-cooperation movement. What was the reason? The reason was because the movement, non-cooperation movement, was going against Gandhi's plan. Okay, Gandhiji had wanted a very peaceful kind of demonstration. Okay, he did not want any kind of violence anywhere in the country. Okay, so what we saw is that in the Chowri Chowra incident, the movement turned out to be very, very violent. Okay, there were many people who were killed. All right, so Gandhiji was very, very disappointed with this, and that's why in February 1922 he called off the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so after this, okay, that means after the calling off of non-cooperation movement, after withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement, we saw a lot of changes in the Indian politics. Okay, especially if you see within the Congress party, there were a lot of changes that happened. Okay, the first thing was that there were some leaders now in the Congress who were tired of this kind of mass struggle. Okay, this kind of mass struggle, okay, like the non-cooperation movement is to halke mass struggle, but they were tired because it was not giving them the desired result. All right, so they were tired of this kind of mass struggle and they wanted to participate in the elections to the provincial council. Okay, so that means junche provincial council ko junche elections that was happening, that was taking place, okay, according to the Government of India Act 1919. Okay, यो act को अनुसार चाहिँ this act gave the Indians, okay, the permission to participate in the provincial council elections. Okay, जति पनि provinces को जुन चाहिँ council को जुन चाहिँ elections हुन्छ त्यसमा Indiansहरूले पनि participate गर्नु पाउँछ. All right, so that was the Government of India Act 1919. Okay, but if you remember, non-cooperation movement hundakiri, many of our Indian leaders, okay, the Congress leaders, they had boycotted from this provincial council elections, except for one area, and that was in Madras, okay, where the Justice Party participated. Okay, so apart from the Justice Party, everywhere in the country, no political party had participated in the provincial council elections. All right, but now, after the withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement, the Congress leaders, they wanted to get back to the system of the council politics. That means they wanted to participate in the provincial council elections now. All right, because they thought that now, you know, is it mass struggle, agitations, garera, they are not going to get any kind of result. Okay, the only way to bring results, okay, is when our leaders become a part of the council. Okay, council ko jab hamro leaders members huncha, then they can pressurize the government to take various decisions. Okay, bhanera चाहिँ some Congress leaders had a belief. All right, so that is why now Congress leaders wanted to get back to the provincial council elections. Okay, so Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. Okay, so Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das, Chittaranjan Das, okay, yeah, these were the two main leaders who formed the Swaraj party within the Congress. Okay, and their main argument was to return to the council politics. Okay, so headed by Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das, Swaraj party, okay, Congress ke bhitra Swaraj party form bhayo. Okay, so all those leaders within the Congress who wanted to or who wanted to get back to the council politics, okay, who were in favor of the elections, they were the members of the Swaraj party. Okay, र उनीहरूको डिमान्ड चाहिँ के थियो भन्दाखेरि now they have to get back to the council politics. That means provincial council elections मा उनीहरूले participate गर्नु पर्छ. Okay, now around the same time there were new and young and very radical leaders that were emerging in Congress. These leaders were Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, Jawaharlal Nehru is also the son of Motilal Nehru. Okay, so these leaders, okay, were very, very young, okay, and they were also very radical in their approach. Okay, unlike the other Congress leaders who were very, very moderate, right? Moderate too. Some were very liberal. Okay, Tara Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, they were leaders who were very, very radical. They wanted radical mass agitations. Okay, and they wanted full independence. Okay, they wanted complete, Purna Swaraj. That means complete independence ko favor ma unaru थियो. Okay, so they did not want, यसो खालके provincial election मा participate गरेर मात्रै केही पनि हुँदैन. Okay, they need to have a full independence. Okay, India should be fully independent. That was the demand of these young and radical leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose. All right, so this is the kind of change that we saw within the Congress. There was division within the party, and there was also emergence of very radical leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, now around the same times there were two main factors that shaped the Indian politics toward the late 1920s. Okay, so 1920s ma, okay, while this division was taking place within the Congress, there were other two factors, okay, that was shaping the Indian politics. Okay, and the first one, if you see, was the Great Economic Depression. Okay, now if you remember, when we were reading Nazism in class 9, there we had read about the Great Economic Depression. Okay, where the crashing down of Wall Street Exchange, the biggest stock market in the US, crashed. The whole economy around the world was affected. All right, so your economic depression, everywhere economy was falling. Okay, people were struggling. Okay, companies were struggling. The prices were falling. Prices of goods were falling. Okay, so this economic depression was also felt in India. Okay, that means India le pani yo economic worldwide economic depression ko result चाहिँ India le pani bear गर्नु पर्यो. Okay, so agricultural prices in India, they began to fall from 1926 and it collapsed after 1930. Okay, so now you all know that India is an agrarian society. That means in our country, most of the people survive by doing agriculture. That means agriculture is the main source of livelihood in our country. Okay, it is also the biggest contributor to our economy. All right, so back in these days, agriculture was people were very, very dependent on agriculture. Okay, especially in the rural areas, agriculture was the main source of income. All right, but what happened is that 1926 मा के भयो भन्दाखेरि जति पनि prices छ agricultural products को, the prices began to fall. Okay, and not only that, 1930 मा it became worse. Okay, that means the farmer were not getting desired prices for the goods that they were selling. Okay, that means all their hard work, all their effort जुन चाहिँ छ त्यो चाहिँ के छ, it is going in vain. Okay, the hard work that they are putting in, the products that they are producing, after all the hard work, they are not getting a desired value for their agricultural produce. Okay, so के भयो एग्रिकल्चरल गुड्स को जुन चाहिँ एक्सपोर्ट छ, ओके, इन्डियाले जुन चाहिँ एक्सपोर्ट गर्थ्यो एग्रिकल्चरल गुड्स को, त्यो एक्सपोर्ट पनि के हुन थाल्यो, फल हुन थाल्यो, बिकज डिमान्ड के भयो, फल भयो. That means all over the world, economic depression was affecting the world, everywhere. That means all the countries in the world were affected by this economic depression. All right. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि what happened is that जुन चाहिँ Indian goods को, agricultural products को जुन चाहिँ demand थियो in the international market, that demand began to fall. All right. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि exports पनि के भयो, decline भयो. Okay, now the peasants in India, they found it very, very difficult to sell their harvest. okay, and harvest sell nagareko karanle garda they were not able to sell what they were producing, that means unakoma source of income abo China. That means they were not able to generate source of income because there was no one to buy their produce. Okay, unako harvest like kinne त्यसको त्यसलाई राम्रो भ्याल्यु दिने मान्छे नै थिएन मार्केटमा. Alright, so that is why उनीहरुकोमा के थिएन income आउने, their income was declining. Okay, their income became very less. Okay, and because of this they were not able to pay the revenue. Okay, now most of these peasants they had to pay land revenue. Alright, तर अब income नै छैन भनेपछि can they pay the revenue? No, they are not able to pay the revenue. Okay, and that is why 1930s the whole countryside, everywhere, all these villages across India, all the villagers across India who were dependent on agriculture, most of them were, right? So the whole countryside was in a state of turmoil. That means there was a lot of disturbance, there was a lot of people were depressed by this kind of situation that was happening in our country. All right, so one of the factor was the economic depression. Okay, the next was now the Simon Commission. Now the Tory government was a new government in Britain. Okay, so after this government was formed in Britain, this government constituted a statutory commission, okay, which was headed by Sir John Simon. Okay, एउटा कमिसन फर्म गरे टरी गभर्मेन्टले, and this commission को main जुन चाहिँ head थियो, the main leader who was supposed to head this commission, his name was Sir John Simon. All right, now Simon Commission it was popularly called. This Simon Commission was specially formed for a reason. Okay, now now the British government had been observing that there is a lot of nationalist movement taking place in India. Okay, Satyagraha was taking place everywhere in India. The non-cooperation movement was in full swing. Okay, until the 1922. Okay, so there was a lot of nationalist movement taking place in India. A lot of anti-government movement was taking place in India. Okay, so the Simon Commission was formed, okay, by the government of Britain to look into the functioning of the constitutional system in India and suggest changes. That means your commission ko kaam चाहिँ के थियो भन्दाखेरि India गएर, because these people in India were demanding for a constitution. Okay, Simon Commission ले गएर इन्डियामा इन्डियाको कन्स्टिट्युसनलाई के गर्नु, फर्म गर्नु, फ्रेम गर्नु. Okay, and whatever changes that can be brought, the changes लाई suggest गर्नु. That was the main work assigned to the Simon Commission. All right, now it was a good thing. Okay, now India was getting a constitution, it was supposed to be a good thing. But what was the problem in this? The problem was that this commission, which was supposed to frame the constitution for our country, in this commission there was not even a single Indian member. That means एउटा पनि Indian member चाहिँ यसमा थिएन. Okay, so imagine, okay, they are framing a constitution for the Indians, but none of the Indians are a part of this body. Okay, this commission which is going to frame the constitution of our country. Okay, so that was the main problem with the Simon Commission. That means Simon Commission the Simon Commission is the statutory commission formed by the Tory government in Britain. Okay, किन Simon Commission बनेको? Because this statutory commission was headed by Sir John Simon. Alright, so this Simon Commission, because in the Simon Commission there was not even a single Indian member, they were all British. That is why the people were against this Simon Commission. Okay, so when the Simon Commission came to India in 1928, everywhere it was greeted with the slogan "Go back, Simon." Okay, so "Go back, Simon" was the main slogan that was called off everywhere. Okay, and people came out in the street opposing the arrival of the Simon Commission in India in 1928. Okay, the famous slogan was "Go back, Simon." Alright, so you can even see the picture here. Okay, how this is how everywhere people gathered. Okay, they rallied against the Simon Commission. Okay, proclaiming Simon Commission to go back from India. So there were demonstrations taking place everywhere in the country, and so all parties, including the Congress and the Muslim League, they participated in the demonstrations. Okay, and this was very very wide demonstrations. Okay, everywhere this slogan of "Go Back Simon" was being raised by the people. So Lord Irwin, who was the viceroy of our country, he in an effort to win the people back, okay, in his favor, okay, in order to stop this situation or demonstrations that was taking place against the Simon Commission, he made an offer to our leaders in October 1929. Okay, and that offer was of dominion status, number one, and the second was invitation to the Congress to attend the first roundtable conference to discuss the future constitution of our country. Okay. Now, Lord Irwin, he made this offer of dominion status. So, what is this dominion status, Bandahiri? Now, the British government, they offer that, okay, India will be given some kind of autonomy, okay, some kind of self-government will be given to India, but they will still be under the British rule. That is what you understand by the dominion status. That means elections will be held, the leaders will be Indians, okay, but having said that, India will still be under the British rule. So that is what you understand by dominion status, okay. And this was the offer made by Lord Irwin in October 1920. Nine. Okay, and he also offered Congress to attend the first roundtable conference to discuss the future constitution of our country. Okay, he also invited Congress to attend this first roundtable conference. Okay, or a conference called Gonebaya. This is supposed to be the first roundtable conference. Okay, and here they shall be discussing about the constitution of India. Okay, so this was the offer that was made by Lord Irwin to stop this kind of demonstration against the Simon Commission. All right, but the Congress leaders, they did not agree with the offer. Okay, and in fact, the radical leaders that we were talking about before, Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, they were very very now assertive with their demand. Okay, they wanted complete independence. They were the ones who would not be satisfied with this kind of dominion status. Okay, so dominion status को identity बराबर चाहिँ हुँदैन. Okay, dominion status को offer but they were not satisfied. Okay, so the radical leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, they were more assertive now. They wanted a complete independence for our country. Okay, so in December 1929, Congress को जुन चाहिँ एउटा session भएको थियो लाहोरमा, Lahore, which is now in Pakistan. Okay, so in that Lahore session of Congress in December 1929, the Congress formalized Purna Swaraj. Okay, they now wanted Purna Swaraj, which means complete independence. Okay, and declaration was also made that 26 January 1930 would be celebrated as Independence Day, when people will they will take pledge to struggle for complete independence. But this did not become very very successful. Okay, the celebration did not attract attention of the people. That means not many people participated in this call for Independence Day on 26 January 1930. So Mahatma Gandhi, he knew that he now had to find a way to relate this abstract idea of freedom to more concrete issues of everyday life. So freedom जुन चाहिँ छ, it was a very abstract idea. Okay, जुन चाहिँ common people ले यो idea सँग relate गर्नु उनीहरूलाई it was very very difficult, because freedom was something which is very abstract in the sense that you cannot see freedom. Okay, it is a sense which you can only feel. It is a it's a kind of feeling जुन चाहिँ हामीले खाली feel गर्न सक्छ हैन. It's not something materialistic हैन जुन चाहिँ हामीले देख्न सक्छ, okay, या touch गर्न सक्छ. Okay, freedom is a very abstract idea. So for the majority of the people in India who were very simple and who were uneducated, for them freedom जुन चाहिँ idea थियो, it was a very abstract idea which उनीहरूले relate गर्नु नै सकेको थिएन. Okay, so to make them understand, okay, to make the majority of the population understand the essence of freedom, the importance of freedom for our country, Gandhiji, he knew that he has to find a way, okay, or a method he has to find, just like उसले freedom like everyday life को कुनै चीजसँग associate गर्न सक्छ, so that everybody can understand what freedom really is and why should they fight for the freedom of their country. all right, or why is freedom so much important for us? Okay, so त्यो बुझाउनुको लागि he had to find something जुन चाहिँ उसले everyday life people को everyday life सँग related होस् र जुन चाहिँसँग चाहिँ people ले associate गर्न सकोस्. Okay, and it should make the people understand the importance of freedom. So this Gandhiji found in salt. All right, so salt was a very powerful symbol, that could unite the nation. That is what Gandhiji felt. All right, now salt is a very simple commodity which we use in our everyday life, right? So it's consumed by the rich and even the poor. Poor र rich दुवैजनाले सल्टलाई हामीले युज गर्छ. विदाउट सल्ट हाम्रो फुड कस्तो हुन्छ, इट बिकम्स भेरी ब्ल्यान्ड, टेस्टलेस हुन्छ नि होइन. सो salt was a essential commodity of our everyday life, which Gandhiji thought that, okay, if I use this symbol, okay, it can be very, very powerful, and it can be a method, or it can be a way through which we can unite the people of India for achieving freedom. All right, so किन अब सल्टलाई चाहिँ गान्धीजीले युज गर्यो? Okay, why did he particularly think about salt as a powerful symbol? There were other things also, तर किन सल्टलाई नै युज गर्यो? One is because salt everyday लाइफमा युज हुन्छ, सबै प्रकारको पिपलले यसलाई युज गर्छ, rich or poor. Okay, another thing is that the government of India, okay, the British government in India, they had imposed a tax on salt. Okay, and the government had a monopoly over its production. That means salt production चाहिँ खाली ब्रिटिशर्सले मात्रै प्रड्युस गर्नु सक्थ्यो इन्डियामा. Okay, and इन्डियन्सहरूले चाहिँ सल्ट किन्दाखेरि के गर्नु पर्यो? They had to pay certain amount of tax. All right, so that is why Gandhiji ke garyo, he chose salt as a powerful symbol to unite the people for attaining the freedom of India. Okay, so the tax on salt and the government monopoly over its production, Mahatma Gandhi declared, revealed the most oppressive phase of the British rule. Okay, so जुन चाहिँ salt माथि tax छ, जुन चाहिँ salt को production चाहिँ खाली British government ले मात्रै produce गर्नु पाउँछ salt India मा. Okay, so जुन चाहिँ यो system introduce गरेको छ Britishers ले India मा, this he explained to the people that this is one of the most oppressive way in which the Britishers has been ruling in India. All right, so Gandhiji, he wrote a letter to Lord Irwin. Okay, so Lord Irwin, as I said earlier, he was the viceroy, okay, of India. So Gandhiji, he wrote a letter to Lord Irwin. Okay, so on 31st January 1930, he sent this letter to Viceroy Lord Irwin, where he stated 11 demands. Okay, so 11 demands were placed in this letter. Some of these demands were of very general interest. Okay, general demands are लेखेको थियो. Okay, some of the demands were of specific classes. Okay, from industrialist to peasants, सबैजनाको demands चाहिँ यो 11 demands को form मा चाहिँ गान्धीजीले he had written in this letter. Okay, the idea was to make the demands wide-ranging so that all classes within Indian society could identify with them and everybody could be brought together in a united campaign. Okay, so in this 11 demands, all the demands of from that of industrialist to that of peasants. Okay, jati pani different classes, different groups of people that are there in India, सबैजनाको demand लाई यसमा गान्धीजीले 11 demands ko form ma he had presented to the Viceroy Lord Irwin. Okay, now the reason behind this was because if he knew that if he presents the demands of everyone, okay, र यसरी demand wide ranging भयो भने चाहिँ के हुन्छ, everyone could identify, okay, and everyone like Gandhiji le ke garnu सक्छ, he can bring them together in a united campaign. All right, the most staring of this all this 11 demands was to abolish the salt tax. र 11 वटा demand मा सबसे जुन चाहिँ important demand जसले चाहिँ तले India लाई the government लाई नै stir गर्यो, okay, move गर्यो, all right, shake गर्यो, that was the demand to abolish the salt tax. Okay, so out of this 11 demands, one of the demand that Gandhiji placed was to abolish the salt tax. Okay, that means salt ko mathi jati pani taxes that has to be abolished bhanera that was placed before Lord Irwin, okay, in this letter by Mahatma Gandhi, which he had written on 31st January 1930. Okay, so Mahatma Gandhi's letter was in a way an ultimatum. Okay, your ultimatum, that this is the final thing. These are demands. If you fulfill this demand by 11th March, it is very good. Otherwise, the Congress will launch the civil disobedience campaign. That means if you fail to fulfill this, demands, the 11 demands by 11th of March 1930, then okay, हामी के गर्छ civil disobedience campaign के गर्छ launch गर्छ. Okay, and Lord Irwin, he was unwilling to negotiate. Okay, he was not ready to accept all the 11 demands that was placed by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so Lord Irwin le yo demand accept nagareko hundakheri, now Gandhiji started the civil disobedience movement. Okay, so the march to Dandi, that's the next topic that we have. Okay, so Mahatma Gandhi started his famous salt march. Okay, यसमा उसलाई 78 of his trusted volunteers ले यो salt march मा उसलाई join गरेको थियो. This march was of over 240 miles from Sabarmati Ashram. Okay, I've shown it here in a picture also. From Sabarmati Ashram till the coastal town of Gandhi, they were supposed to march. Okay, so 78 volunteers go help लिएर चाहिँ group लिएर चाहिँ Gandhiji started the salt march from Sabarmati Ashram till Dandi. Okay, the stretch of march that they are supposed to do, I mean the miles that they are covered, that they are supposed to cover is 240 miles. Okay, and along the way Gandhiji was joined by 1,000 volunteers. Okay, everywhere different places ma wherever Gandhiji stopped bhayo tyahanira thousands of people joined him in the Dandi march. Okay, the volunteers, they walked for 24 days, about 10 miles a day. Okay, so every day unarle 10 miles jasto cover garthyo, and this is how unarle 24 days सम्म के गर्यो यो Dandi march continue गर्यो. Okay, 1,000 came to hear Gandhiji wherever he stopped. Okay, so wherever they rested, wherever they stopped, okay, for taking rest, there people gathered to listen to Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, where Mahatma Gandhi told the people about what is Swaraj, and he urged the people to peacefully defy the British government. Okay, now it is the time, now हामीले defy गर्नुपर्छ British government को rules हरुलाई, laws हरुलाई हामीले, we should not obey. Okay, but this should be done in a very peaceful manner. Okay, so this is what Gandhiji urged the people. Okay, told the people wherever he stopped. Okay, finally on 6th of April, Mahatma Gandhi and his group of volunteers, they reached the coastal town of Dandi, the destination, ultimate destination, where unarle ceremonially they violated the salt law by manufacturing salt by boiling the sea water. Okay, so on 6th April ma Dandi town, Dandi ko yo coastal area pugeपछि त्यहाँनिर Gandhiji ले के गर्यो, he violated, he broke the salt law. Okay, the salt law जुन चाहिँ छ खाली ब्रिटिश गभर्नमेन्टले मात्रै सल्ट प्रड्युस गर्न पाउने त्यो ललाई गान्धीजीले के गर्यो, भायोलेट गर्यो. कसरी there he and his volunteers, he manufactured salt by boiling the sea water. Alright, so this is how this is the importance of the Dandi march. Okay, the salt march. Okay, it was from Sabarmati Ashram, Gandhiji ko jun चाहिँ ashram cha Sabarmati Ashram, okay, in Gujarat. From there it started, and the ultimate destination was to reach the coastal town of Dandi. Okay, so Dandi janiro चाहिँ coast, it is near the sea. Okay, so त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ उनीहरूले के गर्यो, salt के गर्यो, आफै के गर्यो, manufacture गर्यो. So this is how उनीहरूले के गर्यो, salt law जुन चाहिँ छ, okay, that only the British government had the authority of making or manufacturing salt. त्यो law लाई उनीहरूले के गर्यो, break गर्यो by manufacturing their own salt. Okay, so and this salt march is important because this salt march marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. Alright, so civil disobedience movement ko beginning चाहिँ यही Dandi march or salt march बाट नै सुरु भएको हो. Okay, so you can see here in the picture how Gandhiji walked all the way from Sabarmati to the coastal town of Dandi. He must have been around 60 to 62 years at this time when he did this, 240 miles go march okay. He was, joined by 78 volunteers, as I said earlier, but, on the way, several other people like joined Garyo, okay. Prominent among them was also, you can see here, Gandhiji is making salt at Dandi, okay. He was also, accompanied by Sarojini Naidu, okay. Sarojini Naidu, the very famous poet of India, all right, who was also amongst one of the freedom strugglers, okay. She was also a part of this Dandi march, okay. So this is how the Salt March marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. That means abo civil disobedience movement ko launch by India ma, okay, because Lord Irwin, the viceroy, had denied to accept the 11 demands placed by Mahatma Gandhi. Now, how was the civil disobedience movement different from the non-corporation movement? Okay, so we have started about two movements now. Eh? So, Bahar civil disobedience movement start by you with the Salt March. Okay, earlier we have read about the non-corporation movement. Okay, now what is the difference between the two? Let us try to understand that. So, civil disobedience movement, Mache, people were now asked not only to refuse cooperation with the British, as they had done earlier in the non-cooperation movement, that is from 1921 to 1922. Okay, but now under the civil disobedience movement, the people were asked not only to refuse cooperation with the British, but they were asked to break the British laws. That means जति पनि British government को laws rules बनाएको छ त्यो laws लाई अब के गर्नु break गर्नु. That was the meaning of civil disobedience. Okay, that means the civilians ले चाहिँ अब जति पनि rules छ laws हरू छ colonial laws त्यसलाई के गर्नु openly defy गर्नु disobey गर्नु. Okay, thousands in different parts of the country broke the salt law, manufactured salt, and demonstrated in front of the government salt factory. That thousands of people in different parts of the country, they began to produce their own salt. Okay, and कति जनाले त salt factories को अगाडि नै गएर demonstrations हरू गर्नु थाल्यो. Okay, by manufacturing salt on their own. As the movement spread, foreign clothes were boycotted and liquor shops were picketed. Okay, here also, as your movement jati bardai gayo, civil disobedience movement, everywhere, people now began to boycott the foreign clothes, which marked the, British rule. All right, so foreign clothes, jati पनि Britain-बाट आउने clothes they were boycotted. Okay, jati पनि liquor shops so they were picketed. I've already explained you what is picketing. All right, so liquor shops ko agadi people barred people's entry into the liquor shop. People were not allowed to buy liquor from the liquor shops. All right, so this is how civil disobedience movement ma people participate gare. All right, peasants, they refused to pay revenue and the chaukidari taxes. Okay, peasants early taxes pay गर्नु, revenues, land revenues, chaukidari taxes जुन चाहिँ British government impose गरेको थियो, they refused to pay that. Village officials resign गर्यो. Okay, and in many places, especially forest people they started to violate the forest laws. Okay, forest laws ले गर्दाखेरि it had restricted entry into the different kind of forest. Okay, the forest of India was divided into different categories. र forest communities के भएको, they were restricted entry into the forest हैन. So अब के गरे in defiance, okay, civil disobedience movement मा जुन चाहिँ forest communities हरू छ उनीहरूले openly यो forest laws हरूलाई violate गर्न थाल्यो. They began to enter the reserved forest areas. They began to collect firewood and even graze cattle in the areas जुन चाहिँमा चाहिँ उनीहरू के थिएन allowed थिएन. All right, so this is how civil disobedience was different from the non-cooperation movement. So non-cooperation मा चाहिँ government सँग cooperate नगर्नु, only that was the appeal. All right, but in civil disobedience, the people were asked to disobey the rules or the laws that were made by the British government. When the civil disobedience movement started, okay, the movement became very, very popular everywhere. So everywhere we saw that, people had come out in the streets defying the laws of the British government, salt laws or break garyo, revenues or pay गर्नु, मानेन peasants tribal communities पनि, forest laws break गर्नु थाले, right? So let's see how the British government reacted to all this. Okay, so the colonial government, they began to arrest Congress leaders. All right, so त्यसले गर्दाखेरि everywhere violent clashes it started to occur in various parts of the country. Okay, Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Now Abdul Ghaffar Khan, I've shown it in the picture here with Mahatma Gandhi. All right, he's standing there. So Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he was a very important leader who was leading this non civil disobedience movement in Peshawar, which is now in Pakistan. Okay, so Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he was arrested in April 1930. So when Ghaffar Khan was arrested, the people became very, very angry and they started to demonstrate in the streets of Peshawar. Okay, and the people, the angry crowd like रोक्नुको लागि armored cars police के गर्नु थाल्यो, fire, open fire गर्नु थाल्यो, and जसले गर्दाखेरि many people were again killed. All right, in the same manner Mahatma Gandhi was also arrested. Okay, he was also arrested. So when Mahatma Gandhi was arrested, okay, the industrial workers in Solapur attacked the police outpost, okay, municipal buildings, law courts, and the railway stations. Okay, because all these buildings, railway station, law courts, municipal building, okay, all of these symbolized the British rule. Okay, the frightened government responded with policy of brutal repression. Okay, so everywhere people were violating, they were openly defying, there were clashes happening everywhere, and jati clashes hunदै गयो त्यति governmentले they began to take more brutal measures to repress the the people. Okay, peaceful satyagrahis were attacked, women and children, they were again beaten up. Okay, over 1 lakh people were arrested. Okay, so as a result we can see that everywhere जो पनि satyagrahis छ, all these satyagrahis they were attacked. Women, they did not even live, women and children, even they were beaten up. All right, and as a result we can see over 1 lakh people were arrested. Many of the Congress leaders were among them. All right, so what we see is that Mahatma Gandhi र Viceroy Irwin दुईजनाले एउटा pact sign गर्यो on 5th March 1931. Okay, and Gandhiji also decided to attend the second round table conference in London. Okay, and the government in return they decided to release all the political prisoners. So in December 1931, Gandhiji, he went to London for the conference, but the negotiations broke down and he returned disappointed. Okay. When Gandhiji went to attend the second roundtable conference in December 1931, in London, he was very, very disappointed because there was no consensus that was that was met. Okay, that means key decision, key negotiation ne bhaina, key whatever Gandhiji wanted, he did not get the kind of response from the British government in that conference. Okay, so he returned to India as a very disappointed leader. Okay, when he came back to India, he found out that the government had begun a new cycle of repression. Okay, government le feri repressive measures introduced garisakeko थियो. Ghaffar Khan, Jawaharlal Nehru, okay, they were all put in the prison, and Congress party जुन चाहिँ छ, that was declared as an illegal party, and a series of measures had been imposed to prevent meetings, demonstration, and boycotts. Okay, government le त नयाँ rules बनाइसकेको थियो. Okay, and all these important leaders like Ghaffar Khan, Jawaharlal Nehru, they were arrested. Congress party was declared illegal, and अब जति पनि meetings, demonstration, boycotts अब पहिला जुन चाहिँ openly गर्दै थियो people ले, now new rules were made according to which यस्तो meetings, demonstrations, and boycotts were not allowed to be done. Okay, so this was unexpected by Mahatma Gandhi. Alright, so with much apprehension उले फेरि के गर्यो, civil disobedience movement जुन चाहिँ उले अगाडि call off गरेको थियो, he decided to relaunch the civil disobedience movement. Okay, and for over a year the movement continued. Okay, so यो movement फेरि 1933 मा फेरि के भयो, continue भयो. But what we saw is that by 1934 this movement lost the momentum. That means it lost the support of the people, and gradually your movement के हुँदै गयो, less popular हुँदै गयो.